Hi, my name is Rachel. Welcome to my channel, Learning with Boys. Today I just want to give you a review of a book I've been reading and an update on what my boys have been reading this past month, January 2022. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I have 4 boys ages 9 to 19 and I've been homeschooling for 13 years. If you like homeschool content, I also do a little bit on gluten-free cooking. Please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. That would encourage me so much. All right, I'm going to start out with our first book, which is the review that I want to do for what I have been reading. First thing I want to mention is this book that I mentioned, I don't know, a month or so back, and things that I think it was in the books that I was recommending to read. But this is the one book that I had not read, and I had just gotten it, and it was new, and it's by Dorinda Wilson, The 4-Hour School Day. And let me tell you first, it's not what I expected. I was thinking 4-hour school day. What is she going to tell me? But it's more than I expected. It's really good. I highly recommend it. At first, she talks about education, a little bit about her testimony and her children. I want to say she had 7 children, and just talking about schooling them. Then she talks about from babies to toddlers, to elementary, to middle, all the way to high school. And it was really, really good and really encouraging. And I would recommend it for a new homeschool mom for sure. And I would have no problem, and I probably will offer this to share it with other moms that I know if they'd like to read this book. So I do highly recommend this. Even if you've been schooling for a while, I feel like it was encouraging, just like, okay, I'm on the right path. This is good. I just wanted to mention this read that I've been reading, and can't say I've read a whole lot more for myself, read some pamphlets, reading some short things through my Bible studies and stuff, but not an actual book. So let me start with my 4th grader. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that we're using the curriculum, Preparing Hearts for His Glory. Today I'm just going to mention some books that we are reading or have read in the last month. And this is Child's History of the World. We're sort of in the era of the 400 years before the Old Testament and the New Testament. This was very good. We really enjoyed it. They kept asking us to refer to one of the maps in here, so I just copied it and had him color it while we talked about it, and then I left it in the book so we could keep referring to it. And I think he really enjoyed that. He likes maps and stuff. So if that's just an idea, that is not something they recommended in the book. Okay, during that time, we also read this book, A Triumph for Flavius. And this was a really good read. It wasn't real long, and he probably could have read it for himself because it says grades 3 through 5, but we read it together, and it's about a boy named Flavius, and he develops a compassion for the slave that his father just brought in captured a whole bunch of Greeks, and just the development of a friendship there. And it's really, really good, and we enjoyed this together. Now, we just got back in to Grandpa's box, and he was like, yay, Grandpa's box. He does enjoy this book very much, and we are talking about Jesus, his birth, his death, his burial, and his resurrection. So we're just in that part, which this time of year, if we would have been I think that is on week 19, 20. And that would have if we would have been on schedule, we probably would have done that more during the Christmas time, but that's okay. I think it's important all year round. So, okay, along with that, we have a story time and we have independent study. For story time, it is The Fountain of Life. I just love how the books correlate with the main part of history, which is the part with Jesus. And this book, I'm going to give you just a little thing it says on the back, and I felt like, wow, I didn't even look at that, but it explains it very well. It is set in New Testament times and includes a wealth of information about Jewish life and customs. This is an inspiring story of blossoming faith, seeking and finding the truth, and drinking deeply in the fountain of life. Very good story about a young man named Eli who lives with his family who are devout Pharisees, ends up talking to some Sadducees, and they hear about Jesus. We are not in the time of Jesus. We're not quite to the end. So, but this is a very good book in so many different ways. So this was for story time. This is for independent study, but we have been reading it together. Little Miriam, when he first saw this, he's like, oh, he's thinking it's a girly book, but it has been very good. What I am enjoying about it is that because of the Romans coming and the taxes being raised and the dry season, they may have to move, and she doesn't want to move away from her family, and she's praying for a miracle. Well, she thinks of all the miracles that could happen, and I just did a video about our expectations, and it made me think of this book because I know we think, how can this all work out? I'm going to make it all work out in my mind. But this was a good testimony of that. We haven't finished it, but I'm pretty sure I know what happens, and I think Jesus is involved. So, but I know it's going to be what she doesn't expect, that he will provide a way. So this has been a good book, and he has enjoyed it, even though it has a girl on it. So, also, I wanted to mention his science book, Find the Constellations, that we have been reading through. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest with this book. I remember several times, this is not the easiest book for us personally, but if you think about it from a Charlotte Mason point of view and just relax and do what you can do what they enjoy about the book, then it will be fine. And that's what we're trying to do. We've done some of the fun things at the beginning, and I have a video about that, and it was enjoyable, but that grasped his attention, so he has become interested in the constellations. Every time we come home at night, especially if it's usually after church, he will want to look at the stars, and he's found the Dipper and the Big Dipper, and right now we're looking for the North Star and how you can line it up with the dippers, and that's the star you'll always see. And I think it's enjoyable, but I did want to mention that. So, let's see. What else have we read? I think that's our main books that I wanted to say we have been reading for his history and science. Now, he's read a few books on his own, and usually the Christian heroes, then and now, I enjoy reading with my boys. And actually, I read this book to them last year. But because he is in to the World War I and IIs, he wanted to read this book again. And it is such a good book. It's the first time I had read it was last year. First time I had heard of him and his testimony. If you have boys interested in, or girls interested in the World War I or II, yeah, this is really a good book. And I want to say, he read it within a week, probably less than that. So, wanted to share that with you. And he keeps coming downstairs wanting to read books, and I haven't read this one yet, but I think it was okay. He listened to it. This is one of the audios that we have. But he listened to that. And I may have mentioned this in the last video, because I said, you read this book, was it last month or this month? He thinks it was last month, but he said, I like that book so much I want to read it again. I don't know if he will, but I wouldn't be surprised. So, anything to do with planes, space, that's what he likes about these two guys is, they flew first, So, and then just a couple books from the library, and I know these, I think you can get these off like Rainbow Resources also. You wouldn't want to be a World War II pilot. And it just gives some interesting, it's a lot of crazy pictures, and he likes to read through this. We actually get this at the library. And, but I should look it up, because this is pilot, and he was wondering if they have some other things about World War II. I'll have to look that up and see that for him. And then How America Became Wars at Home. I'm not even sure how he picked this book up. I said, are you reading that book? And he said, I'm going through it. So that probably means he's reading the captions. And again, I think I've mentioned this, but even if it looks like, okay, they're not going to read that, just let them get it. They might read the captions enough to, I'm trying to think, like just some little things here and there that he might just breeze through, and if it interests him, he might read more. So you never know. And then this is one of the DK eyewitnessing books we picked up at the library battles. He always enjoys looking through those books. So I know they have some on World War I and II that he has gotten before, but it's pretty much all their weapons and equipment and that kind of thing. So if you want to know what the 4th grader's looking at, this is what it is. So now for my 9th grader, I want to share with you what he's reading, or we are reading together. He is probably, does he have a bookmark in here? I'm going to say he's getting close to being done with Men of Iron. Now this book is actually in as one of the literature reads for Heart of Dakota. I am not following their schedule, but and I have seen this book recommended so many times for a literature book, but I have not read it, and I don't like doing that. But I think it was written in the late 1800s, early 19. So, and I really actually think this particular copy is put up by BJU. So I thought it'll be fine. But I'm going to tell you, he is not my reader, but he would rather pick this up than any of the other books. So for him, that would be saying he is enjoying this book, if you could say that. So I think he is. I think he's enjoying this book, and I keep asking him, how's it going? What's going on? Because I have some idea what it's about, and he's telling me, and he's telling me, and he's telling me. So I would say it's a good book for someone that doesn't really enjoy reading, that they might catch on and enjoy this one. So I wanted to share that with you. Okay, I'm going to mention world religion. We pretty much read mostly out of this for Judaism, more as informative. With Heart of Dakota, there's usually like a story, a book that goes along with it, but we did not purchase all of the books. It's the 3rd time we've been through the World Geography from Heart of Dakota. This is the student book. I don't have the teacher's book. He has it upstairs right now. But so this is but our first time doing the credit for world religion, and so I wasn't sure what to expect. So I didn't order all the books, and I did not purchase this one. And I was trying to find a substitute, and they have a pretty big section in here about Judaism, and it's been fine. We have enjoyed it. We have learned a lot. And I happen to have this book on my shelf already. But the next book is more about Hinduism, and we have started the next book and probably are about halfway through. It is a Christian hero then and now, and it's about Sundar Sai. I wasn't sure what to expect, really. But I can probably say we have enjoyed all of the Christian heroes then and now, because I didn't know what to expect, and I have never heard of this man, but it has been a great testimony. We have really enjoyed it. We've learned a lot about India, about Hinduism, and he is actually going into Tibet in that journey, and it's a really, really good read. I highly recommend this book. And even my 4th grader, we're all reading it out loud together because we do enjoy these books, and he wants to know what's going on, so we just do it together. Also with it, he continues with a book of discoveries, which is one of their books, and Mapping the World of Art. He reads out of here and draws maps out of here. So that it's all going good. He's doing fine with all of that. And I think that is it for this past month. I do want to mention that I know in my last video, my 9th grade video, I was concerned about my son's math, and we have made a decision to try CTC math for a month to see how that goes. He's actually going to start on that today, so I can't tell you a whole lot about it. And I know some of you sweet people recommended some other things, and even some YouTube things, which I saved those because they looked really good just for extra helps, or even for my 4th grader, because I cannot say math is his favorite subject either. So, but I will try to share with you how the CTC math goes in the future, and prayerfully it goes well. I think it will. I guess that's what I want to hope that it will. And I'm going to tell you, Saxon math is wonderful. There's been no, I mean, I think it's fine. It's just, it is a lot of work. And I guess I'm struggling, and it was even mentioned in this book, you know, how miserable do we want to make their lives just to do school? And I mean, I want him to learn algebra, don't get me wrong. I want him to be familiar with it. He's probably going to have to take a course in college for it. But I just don't want it to take over his whole day, that he can't do anything else and anything else that he's interested in, or he's just wore out from the 2 hours of math. So, but we'll see, and I will let you know. So I appreciate you all watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. Thank you so much.